It's not looking good for Team Germany in the friendly match against Japan in Regulation I. Japan is up 2-0, so yeah, Germany really needs a win. And next up, we will have Billa going up against Yanagi. Billa, of course, veteran of the game. Second place at South Africa Nationals in 2016 is just one of the many things this man has done. And then on the other side, Yanagi most recently getting top 4 at UIC, so one of the few Japanese players who's already qualified for Worlds through the circuit outside of Japan. So yeah, very, very strong players, and let's get right into it. Third match here in this Germany versus Japan friendly match. And yeah, Japan has dominated the first 2 games so far. So yeah, it would be a great time for a German win. This time I will cover, yeah, the Japanese stream. So both you and I, we will try to understand what's going on in the games, but already quite an interesting matchup again in terms of restricted Pokemon. Another Calyrex Shadow Rider, but this time with a Zacian. But it's not like a hyper offense team. It has Clefairy and Grimmsnarl, as well as a Rocky Helmet Instant and Assault Vest Raging Bolt. So seems to be a team that can play defensively and that probably wants to set up screens, maybe set up the Calyrex, which is covered Cloak. So maybe, yeah, call mindset. And then over on the other side, Billa's team, very, very close to what Joe Ugarte was running in the last regulation, but now with a Zamazenta over the Urshifu slot, I believe. So a Miraidon Zamazenta team. Also quite interesting, I would say. Let me see if they have exchanged team sheets. Yep, they did. Sorry about that. And okay, now I have them on the other screen. Yeah, so then let's see what they are bringing out in this battle. Volcarona and Grimmsnarl, a very defensive approach there by Billa, but it might make sense as this is a Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, Terra Fairy, Calyrex Shadow Rider, and 3 attack Zacian. So yeah, quite interesting. Grimmsnarl might want to set up some screens, might get off some Thunder Waves, especially on this Volcarona, as I believe Volcarona will be a Pokemon that will be on the field for quite a while. Zacian, yeah, in a very bad spot against Volcarona in general, but now you could go for a Thunder Wave into the Volcarona, you could go for Behemoth Blade into Grimmsnarl, and you might just be fine if you're Yanagi, but it looks like Billa has other plans. Billa does not want their Grimmsnarl to go down just like that. Goes for Terra Ghost. There was no fake out or anything like that, so this is just a defensive Terra. Gets off Thunder Wave on Zacian, and we'll see Quiver Dance. Wait, what did? Oh, Spirit Break. That's the move that Grimmsnarl has, so that's what we might get to see from Grimmsnarl. It hasn't moved yet, I believe. Yeah, Behemoth Blade fails to knock out Grimmsnarl thanks to the Terrestrialization, and Spirit Break with a critical hit will keep that Volcarona in check a little bit, stops the special attack boost, so resets it basically back to 0. And yeah, that's already quite different to what I might have imagined this game to go like, but okay, Terra invested over on Billa's side, got off this Para, now can set up a screen this turn, and Thunder Wave still an option for Yanagi. So I guess could have gone for Thunder Wave the previous turn and then try to go for a Spirit Break afterwards. But yeah, actually no screens at all. Seems like Billa is saying, well, I can bring in Zamazenta, that gets the defense boost. My Volcarona doesn't take that much damage from your Pokemon at all. And just a Fairy Dance, that's going to be a lot of damage into Zacian and also a special attack boost. I like going for the offense there and not just trying to set up another Quiver Dance. Behemoth Blade, yeah, not even scratching Zamazenta, but just another Spirit Break into Volcarona. Once again, dropping the special attack, and yeah, that's a quite effective strategy, actually, slowing Volcarona down, because right now you don't really care about the speed boost it has. You don't really care about special defense boost. And yeah, if you can maybe not have Volcarona get the special attack boost from Fairy Dance, then yeah, all of a sudden it would be in -1, and then it would be quite sad. So I like how Yanagi is approaching this so far. Also delaying screens until the very last moment can be very, very helpful, because had he set up a screen like the first turn, no damage was really happening then. So Yanagi understands, okay, now is a good time to maybe set up a screen. Volcarona also thinks that it's a good time to set up, goes for another Quiver Dance as Zacian was paralyzed, but I think went for Protect anyway, so it doesn't really matter as Zamazenta goes after Grimmsnarl. Interestingly enough, it's Body Press, not Heavy Slam, but doesn't really matter, I guess, as you are, yeah, it's just gonna be a 2-hit knockout either way. But just like that, now finally Barish has the boosts up. And with this, that's going to be, yeah, a boost now for Volcarona. Let's see there. Protect on Zamazenta, probably to try and avoid a Thunder Wave, I would guess. But Thunder Wave goes into the other slot. Nice play by Yanagi. And yeah, I don't think Zamazenta was under that much pressure from Billa's side, but this is, yeah, quite bad now. Volcarona paralyzed and fully paralyzed right away. And yeah, now Incineroar joins the battle. It has knockoff. If you can knock off Volcarona's Citrus Berry, that would be a huge win for Yanagi, I think. Because it means that, yeah, no recovery and some damage. And then, sure, you have Giga Drain, but what are you going to Giga Drain in this position? However, if you want to attack with Incineroar this turn, you might have to actually go for Terrestrialization, since, yeah, Zamazenta is ready to get the KO with Body Press. But you could also go for another Thunder Wave. Yeah, this Protect play the previous turn from Billa means that now Zamazenta is in a lot of danger of being paralyzed. And Terra Ghost kind of locks out a lot of damage potential that Barish might have this turn. So yeah, no Body Press and another Thunder Wave hit. So stacking the odds against Billa with 2 Pokemon on the field, both Volcarona and Zamazenta, that definitely want to stay around on the field. They don't want to switch typically because they have boosts acquired. And then always Thunder Wave is a nice way to combat that. Now finally we're getting a Flame Body burn, and of all Pokemon it is Incineroar that yeah, gets burned. Zamazenta is paralyzed. Now we don't get to know which move it was trying to go for. If that was Heavy Slam into Grimmsnarl, that would have been nice. As I think, if I counted correctly, we still only have 1 screen up so far for Yanagi. So Grimmsnarl still has something to do. I think they might have set up Light Screen based on the damage that Body Press did earlier to Grimmsnarl, or maybe it is Reflect. Yeah, always hard to tell. But yeah, 1 screen is up. Okay, which of them? I think Reflect has 30 PP and Light Screen has 20. So then it is Light Screen that was set up. But maybe I should double check. Okay, as we're double checking, Giga Drain will get a little bit of HP back. And it was actually Reflect that was used. Okay, Reflect was used. So yeah, a little bit of recovery. That is nice. And Parting Shot comes out. I think this was into Zamazenta. So making use of the fact that you got the speed advantage. Now, typing-wise, well, switching one out, 1 Ghost type, you bring in another Ghost type. Not that much happening in that regard. But another Spirit Break. Nice play. Could get the burn. Maybe. Nope. Once more, no burn. And Heavy Slam doesn't get the KO. Wow, this is... Yeah, with the Reflect and Parting Shot, and Intimidate, just barely missing the KO, and that is quite big then. Yeah, I was a little bit skeptical about Parting Shot, but yeah, that might already be worth it, because now you could set up Light Screen, finally delaying it until the very, very last moment. And while Volcarona has a couple of boosts, if Volcarona can get off a Giga Drain, I guess Giga Drain is not really gonna scratch Calyrex too much, but as long as there's Zamazenta on the field, the strongest move Calyrex could go for is Draining Kiss. And this is a Draining Kiss without any Terra boost. So yeah, bearish identifying, well, there's not that much that's threatening me. Maybe you can go for Giga Drain into Grimmsnarl this turn just to get some recovery. But Calyrex now using this opportunity to also set up. Of course, Yanagi also knows, well, you're not going to just let me get off Astro Barrage, right? And another para. I assume this probably was something like a Giga Drain, maybe even another Quiver Dance. But now, well, now Grimmsnarl doesn't really have that much to do on the field anymore. Everyone's paralyzed. Both screens are set up. You could switch it out into Incin, but you probably also don't want to give your opponent more options to go for boosts. So I might have gone for like a Spirit Break into Volcarona. But maybe Yanagi also says, okay, you know what? Getting Fake Out on the board against Volcarona will be helpful. Getting more Intimidate will be helpful. Zamazenta being paralyzed, that also will be helpful as, yeah, no White Guard. Astro Barrage will go through and does a ton of damage to Zamazenta. Fury Dance will probably do a bit. Well, yeah. With the light screen and with all the Spirit Breaks, Volcarona now was only at +1, I think. So now Volcarona at +2. But behind light screen, Incineroar takes this like a champ. Yeah, now Volcarona at +2. But it's a little too late, because even after all those boosts, it seems that Calyrex is faster because of paralysis. So that means Fake Out is threatening Volcarona this turn. And you could go for Fake Out, and you could go for another Calm Mind. You could go for Draining Kiss. But you could also go for just Fake Out and Astro Barrage, hope for another para. Or you could switch out Incin. At this point, yeah, you have a nice position, I would say. Now, of course, Miraidon is still waiting in the back, so you want to be ready for that as Yanagi, and maybe set up some more Calm Minds. Oh, okay, that could be an opening. Draining Kiss does not get the KO on Volcarona, but it's paralyzed once more. Yeah, if this was Fairy Dance into Calyrex, this could have done some nice damage. Now, though, Draining Kiss is definitely enough to get a knockout on Volcarona. So I think that is, yep, what Yanagi goes for. And then, well, you've already set up both screens. There's not really much the Grimmsnarl can do. Thinking about going for Protect with Calyrex. But then you don't get the boost from knocking out Volcarona. So yeah, I think you want to attack this turn. And as long as Incin and Grimmsnarl are still around, it makes sense, in my opinion, to cycle around between them. Just so you can, yeah, keep the threat of Fake Out up, so you can have Grimmsnarl around to maybe set some screens later on. And this time around, Draining Kiss is enough for the KO. Yeah, it's such a weak move without the modifiers. But now finally getting knockout on Volcarona. And Heavy Slam, yeah, just almost nothing. You take some Rocky Helmet recoil in the process. Incineroar is burned, but doesn't mind that much at this point. Yeah, knockoff was big on Volcarona, and this game is quite long and drawn out, but... Oh, actually it's Ditto, of course. How could I forget about Ditto? It's not Miraidon. Okay, that changes things, of course. Now Ditto comes in with Focus Sash active, and it is Terra Normal. Wait, does this Ditto just win? Well, we already Terra'd, but Ditto has Focus Sash. We can go for Astro Barrage this turn. Yanagi already Terra'd. Yeah, wow, Ditto just wins, I think. You need to... Wait, you need to you need to paralyze Ditto with Grimmsnarl. So you need to protect Calyrex here. And sack something. Then bring in Grimmsnarl and then Thunder Wave. But since Calyrex cannot terrestrialize out of the Ghost weakness, I think this is just cooked. Wow, nice find there by Billa, not bringing Miraidon. But yeah, Ditto makes so much sense in this matchup. Yeah, I didn't think so much about what he would have. But yeah, I mean, that flips the pace of the game by quite a lot. Protect comes out, but what are you even trying to achieve at this point? Well, you could try and stall out the Astral Barrage PP, but, well, you'll just get knocked out, and then there will be more boosts coming in Ditto's way. Nice. Yeah, and getting in Grimmsnarl also means that now Billa can go for Thunder Wave at the same point. So I think that, yeah, this will come down to Calyrex against Calyrex, Thunder Wave against Thunder Wave. I assume we'll see Thunder Wave, Astral Barrage from both sides this turn. And what we're going to see, is it going to be some Thunder Wave misses? Will we have some full paralysis? We also have a speed tie. It's not that important, I guess. As long as, well, it might matter. Okay, let's see. Thunder Wave, first one comes out. Second one also hits. Okay, now the question is, who moves first? It's guaranteed to be a speed tie. Who moves first? And will they be paralyzed? Of course. Ditto moves first, no paralysis. Boom. And that should be a double knockout. And Barish will win this first game. Wow. Yeah, nicely done identifying that, okay, you need to wait until Volcarona gets knocked out so that you can bring in Ditto. I think maybe there was a way for Yanagi to wait out a little bit longer until the Ditto is forced into the other slot, because I think you realistically could have waited for Volcarona. Volcarona wasn't that threatening. It did have the boosts. But it did have the boosts, but it wasn't so boosted in special attack because of the Spirit Breaks that we saw. And you still had Light Screen up. So I think you could have tried to go after the other slot, KO the Zamazenta somehow. But I guess, how do you KO Zamazenta? With Draining Kiss. But Draining Kiss is so weak. Yeah. Yeah, it is quite tough. Yeah, I think Billa just positioned this nicely, identifying that, well, Ditto is my win con, but I also want Volcarona to start off the battle. And not bringing Miraidon against a team that, well, we'll see it again in a second, but a team that does not have any terrain control. There is a Terra Ground Clefairy, so maybe that spooked him out a bit. And then there's also Assault Vest Raging Bolt. So two Pokemon Yanagi didn't bring in this first game. So, yeah, Miraidon also could have been a nice pick, but Ditto, of course, was much better. So nice find by Billa. Yeah, and he takes game 1. So let's go Germany. Of course, I'm not completely unbiased, as I will also play my match afterwards in a bit. But yeah, let's see what Yanagi is thinking about for the second game. Switching things up with the Raging Bolt. Now, Raging Bolt is Assault Vest with Thunderclap, Electro Web, Dragon Pulse, and Snarl. So, quite interesting set without anything like Draco Meteor, no Thunderbolt. So this is a Raging Bolt built to be a little bit more, let's say, like defense. Being on the field for a bit, it can benefit from Life Dew, which we have on Clefairy. So yeah, I'm curious to see if Raging Bolt can also do a similar job like we saw in the previous game, because Raging Bolt has Snarl, so you could also try and spam Snarl against Volcarona. Of course, that's not effective at all against Wide Guard. So yeah, I'm curious to learn about why Raging Bolt should be better here. Maybe with Assault Vest it can do better against Ditto. But we'll see. We will see. So yeah, Yanagi, top 4 UIC earlier this season, will make the switch up, bring in Raging Bolt, and Billa just goes back to the same, what has worked in the previous game. Look at how Billa switched the order though. Now Volcarona on the other side of the field to try and maybe get some read as to where is Calyrex coming in later in the battle. Of course, this is always something when you're using Ditto. It's a very, very tricky particular thing that you need to pay attention to. Something that typically doesn't matter which Pokemon is on which side. Usually it doesn't matter. But if there's Ditto around, that it does matter. Now, there's no Zamazenta on the field, so Raging Bolt can just go for Snarl to slow things down a bit, but Volcarona, once again, in such a good spot, setting up Quiver Dance, and there's not really much that can stop it. Electro Web could also come out to lower the speed a bit, but after Thunder Wave comes out, did Zacian go for Behemoth Blade? No, it's fully paralyzed. That is huge. That is big. So Snarl will slow down Volcarona a bit, but this was a big win already for Billa on this first turn because, yeah, Billa was potentially fine to trade Grimmsnarl for this paralysis, but now he got off the para with Thunder Wave. It did connect, but also with, thanks to fully para there, Grimmsnarl is still around, so you could still go for a screen. You could switch it out. You could probably, what could you bring in? I mean, you could bring in Zamazenta in that slot, and I think I like that. If Billa brought the right Pokemon, you could switch Grimmsnarl into Zamazenta here, soak up some damage, and then you would have Wide Guard against Snarl and Electroweb. Volcarona could boost even more. But no, it's gonna be another Fairy Dance. Yanagi allows that to happen once again, but Grimmsnarl goes down without doing anything, so I suppose this might have been a foul play into Zacian. Yeah, I think I would have liked to see the switch to Zamazenta there if he brought it, just because yeah, you don't really have, it's not that risky, right? The worst that could have happened, I guess if you're predicting Sacred Sword, okay, I can see that. Yeah, I think he was predicting Sacred Sword. He was saying, okay, you're trying to catch my Zamazenta switch in, so you will Sacred Sword, so Grimmsnarl will not go down, so I will use that to attack. But maybe Billa was also like, okay, you know what? Even if you do get the KO, it means that I will bring in Ditto. You're paralyzed, so I will outspeed. And so Ditto can join the field, and now there is a double KO potential on the field with Play Rough on the Raging Bolt and like Fury Dance on Zacian. So yeah, pressure is still definitely with Billa after this turn, but losing Grimmsnarl, yeah, it's not the best. We saw how valuable it was in the previous game when it came out in the very end and threw an important Thunder Wave on Calyrex. I mean, it wasn't like game deciding, but it was still quite nice to have that available. Yanagi doesn't want this double KO to happen. Zacian already so low. Yeah, you don't want to Terra it to water, but Raging Bolt, Terra Electric could go for something like an Electroweb or just the Thunderclap into the Ditto, brings it down quite low. Play Rough, because of the Terrestrialization, not enough for the KO, but Volcarona should get it now with the double up. No! The Assault Vest coming in clutch, and even with the double up, now Behemoth Blade gets the KO on Ditto. Yeah, that's definitely not what Billa wanted to see this turn. As, yeah, well, we were talking about KO pressure. No, Billa didn't take a single KO. And Yanagi took one, and it is Ditto. Now, of course, yeah. Of course, we kind of wanted to have Ditto around for later in the game, but it's hard to position. And this game, Yanagi was trying to not get into the same spot again, where he's boosting up Calyrex only for Billa to bring in Ditto and snatch things. So yeah, let's see. Protect on Zamazenta. Volcarona still unfazed, goes for another Quiver Dance. But even with the typing advantage and the boosts, Yanagi could do some damage, but it looks like he was prioritizing Zamazenta this turn. So nice play. Nice play by Barish, identifying that, yeah, Yanagi might want to try and go after Zamazenta. Now, let's see. I guess you want to take a KO with Volcarona, with Fury Dance. You have, at this point, you have to imagine that Grimmsnarl and Calyrex are probably waiting in the back. But you've got all the boosts up, so yeah, Thunderclap doesn't hurt that much. It is a 2v4, but I still think Billa has a chance here. Another Quiver Dance. Still, he doesn't want to get out of this position without acquiring that many boosts that it doesn't even matter if Thunder Wave comes out, that he would still be outspeeding Pokemon like Calyrex Shadow on Yanagi's team. Body Press gets KO on Zacian, and well, with this Volcarona, how is Yanagi going to stop it? Now, we know that there's no Ditto threat coming out, but yeah, also, of course, no boosts coming out. Now, Yanagi did do a good job of keeping the special attack low this game with the Snarls. And also, fortunately for Yanagi, there weren't any special attack boosts from Fury Dance. So, the Volcarona is not out of hand yet, but yeah, this is a tricky one, since Yanagi wants to set up Calyrex, ideally. But I would assume that Body Press will be launched into Raging Bolt. And then that slot goes down. And then all of a sudden it's a 2v2. Terra to Grass. Okay, maybe you want to get the resistance to Electro-type moves. Zamazenta goes for a double... No, it went for Body Press the previous turn. Never mind. I think there was a Thunderclap fail. And now Giga Drain. Giga Drain into Calyrex. Okay, you get to recover back to full health. And you did 50% of damage on the turn where Calyrex was still unboosted. Now the next Giga Drain likely will not KO Calyrex because now it is boosted. But once again, Yanagi has terrored another Pokemon. So Draining Kiss will be quite weak. And Zamazenta is once again in a prime position to just click Wide Guard because, yeah, what is Yanagi gonna do? Electro Web? Nope. Snarl? Nope. Astro Barrage? Also nope. So Wide Guard, very, very valuable. And Yanagi also knows this. Will try to play a little bit around that by protecting Calyrex this turn and attacking into Zamazenta. But Dragon Pulse is quite weak. It's not gonna do that much damage. Thunderclap you can't use, Electro Whip you can't use, Snarl you can't use. So if Billa wanted, he could just keep going for more Wide Guard and Quiver Dance, and I think there is like hardly any risk. Oh wow, but it's no Wide Guard. Thunderclap into Zamazenta. So then it's Body Press, Giga Drain. Okay, well, one way or another, Raging Bolt gets knocked out. Yeah, I think you could have still tried to get a couple more boosts out of this position because the thing is, over on Yanagi's team, there's not really much that can damage Volcarona. Like, probably at all. But of course, you can always lose to like a crit. You could still always lose to this Calyrex as well in the end game. So keeping health high on Zamazenta and going for Wide Guard, I think I would have liked a little bit better. but still a quite dominating position by this Volcarona. However, yeah, a couple of paralysis could lead to a situation where Calyrex gets to catch up in the boosts, gets Giga Drain KO on Zamazenta, and then can just like out-damage Volcarona in the 1v1. And you still have a Grimmsnarl next to it that can just spam Spirit Break. So yeah, it's not that clear, to be honest. And no White Guard means that Astro Barrage just gets the KO. So this also means, though, if Volcarona gets off this hit, then Calyrex will be in KO range for sure. Okay, no para, that's great. Yeah, it doesn't KO, but now one more hit would mean the end for Calyrex, even if you get off like a Spirit Break. So I think if you're bearish, you just attack the Calyrex twice and you hope that you don't get fully paralyzed. I think that might be the play. Now Yanagi on the other side can go for something like a Protect and Spirit Break, and you still have Grimmsnarl, which can do decent damage now that Volcarona Terra'd out. I don't know if I agree with the Terra Grass. Like, sure, you got some Giga Drains, and yeah, you resisted electric types, but just for this Grimmsnarl and for the Draining Kiss as well, it might have been smart to delay Terra even further, or just not use it at all, basically, this game. Okay, Protect from Calyrex. Volcarona will attack it. Yep, that's what we're talking about. So let's hope for burn. That would, of course, lower the damage output significantly from Grimmsnarl. Okay, Citrus Berry should activate, and Calyrex should still be in KO range, and there is the burn. That is very good for a potential, like, late game. Oh, of course, there's no Citrus Berry because of Grimnay, or, like, Unnerve as one. All the abilities. Okay, Astro Barrage, we need to take this, and we should, because we're +3. No! Oh, it was enough, just because of the single target, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it was +1 single target. Yeah, and just like that, what looked like a good position for Billa after getting Volcarona into position once again, Yanagi was able to turn around and to take home the second game. So we'll go into game 3, and wow. Yeah, definitely a bit different from the first game. This time it wasn't the Ditto, but this time I feel like it looked better for Billa for the majority of the game, because Volcarona could just get up some boosts, but Yanagi very nicely identified that, okay, maybe you can have like the boosts, but in the end game, if I will be able to get Thunder Wave, and there's not really that much on Billa's team that can stop Thunder Wave getting on Volcarona, then just using the right moves. It was a little bit of a like dance, what Yanagi was doing. He landed Astro Barrage when Billa did not go for White Guard, and then he managed to call out the move with a Protect when Billa could have like used Giga Drain on Grimmsnarl, for example, to recover some health. Yeah, and then Astro Barrage with the boost that it got earlier was just enough, and yeah, we're going into game 3. I still think Billa, like maybe Billa had a winning path. Like the Terra Grass, I was a little bit unsure about, and then also the previous turn, like you could have gone for White Guard to avoid damage from Raging Bolt. And it's quite interesting to see that Yanagi once again wants to go with the same lead. I guess if you hit Behemoth Blade turn 1 into Grimmsnarl and you get off Snarl, maybe you're just happy with your position. But yeah, against Volcarona, this doesn't look great at all. Like yeah, you just can't deal with Volcarona. So you're just saying, okay, you will do your setup, do your thing. I need to win in the end game somehow. All right. sorry. Alright, we're back in the game. Turn 1, and this time, finally, Miraidon makes an appearance over on Billa's side. So for the first time in the series, he's saying, okay, you know what? I'll go for my dual restricteds. And leading them right away, of course, could do a ton of damage to either Draco Meteor. Definitely should KO Raging Bolt even through the Assault Vest. And then, yeah, something like Volt Switch or Electro Drift would also do massive damage to Zacian, but no Volt Switch coming out whatsoever. Instead, Volcarona once again makes it on the field. I think this might have been a Thunderclap. Yeah, I think this might have been a double-up Thunderclap Play Rough, but amazing switch by Billa bringing in Volcarona, and this also means now Zacian getting burnt. And also Body Press into Raging Bolt. Huge damage on the first turn, and this was a massive, massive win for Billa, baiting his opponent into going for a double-up. So Yanagi was trying to go for a play where you go for Thunderclap and Play Rough, and pretty much no matter if Miraidon terrestrializes or not, it will probably get knocked out, but a very, very smart move there. Smart switch by Billa. Volcarona soaking up all the damage and also activating Flame Body. Now, this is like in the previous game, but much better, I would say. Yanagi also identifying, okay, my Zacian can't really do much, and I can't let this Volcarona get too much time to set up. So brings in Calyrex right away, but Calyrex is on the wrong side if that last Pokemon is Ditto for Billa. Once again, Thunderclap hits, but Body Press not targeted at Zacian will get a knockout on Raging Bolt. That's a huge win for Billa once more, and if this is a Quiver Dance, this would be really, really good. It is Quiver Dance, so strategically, in a position like this, or in a matchup like this, strategically, you would want your Calyrex to be on the opposing side of the Volcarona, because Volcarona is the Pokemon that Billa cannot switch out, just to make it more difficult for Ditto to come in at the right time. But with how this has played out, now Volcarona is on the opposite side. Volcarona is across Calyrex Shadow, which means that, yeah, Yanagi probably won't have the time to reposition Calyrex. Will try to go for maybe some Thunder Waves or some screens to draw out the game, but if Billa has Ditto in the back, yeah, it can come in once more and copy all the boosts just like in game 1. And Yanagi maybe with this is making a little bit of a read, saying, oh, maybe you didn't even bring Ditto. Now you have Miraidon. Which one did you leave at home? Is it no Grimmsnarl? Really? You're not bringing Grimmsnarl? And maybe he's saying, you know what? I think you have Grimmsnarl and not Ditto. Going for the boosts. And yeah, likewise, Volcarona over on Barish's side, I think, also got another boost. But Heavy Slam getting rid of Grimmsnarl here means that Yanagi all of a sudden is down to his last two. And yeah, this is completely flipping the story of how the previous two games went, when it was Billa who was always falling behind and then kind of almost, well, in the first game, crawled his way back with Ditto, but in the second game, almost had a winning spot with Volcarona. But now, yeah, it's the other way around. Now, all of a sudden, it's Yanagi's Pokemon who keep fainting. And yeah, what's the answer against Volcarona? Volcarona going for Fury Dance there, getting the boost. Now it's at +2 special attack. Yeah, it might just one-shot Zacian at this point. And so you still have, I guess you still have Calyrex, so you can still try and go for some more Calm Minds and just hope that there is no Ditto in the back, or you just leave it at the one boost and you try to go to Terra to Fairy to take an Astro Barrage because you're boosted. But yeah, we have Terra Normal as well on Ditto. So yeah, I guess you could try and Terra Fairy and Draining Kiss your way through the Ditto in the end game. But yeah, this is looking really tough for Yanagi to figure out. Because if you take more KOs with Calyrex, that just means Ditto can copy more boosts. So, but Billa is saying, you know what, I don't want you to get any more KOs, just like let me go for the Wide Guard. And yeah, that blocks Astro Barrage. Well, Corona might just go for another Quiver Dance in this position. I don't really see why not. Behemoth Blade, yeah, doesn't even scratch Volcarona. And okay, Volcarona goes for Fury Dance, one-shots Zacian, and will make this game a 4v1. Another boost for Volcarona. I think now you can go for Giga Drains, maybe. It doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah, if there's Ditto in the back, well, you can just spam Wide Guard, honestly. Like, I guess you Terra here. If you're Yanagi, you Terra. Or you just set up more Calm Mines. But Billa should just go for Wide Guard and Fury Dance, I think. Like, yeah, Wide Guard, Fury Dance. And now imagine Calyrex was on the other side, was across Volcarona. Then it would be really tough if there was Ditto in the back, because then you cannot really position well against Calyrex, and maybe with a critical hit or something, you could still get it done if you KO Zamazenta with Draining Kiss at some point, because, well, Fury Dance, yeah, I guess Billa has been getting special attack boosts when going for Fury Dance, so still does quite a bit of damage. But now because Calyrex is on this side of the field, it means that, yeah, you will... If Ditto is in the back for Billa, which we don't know yet, but we are hoping for, at least if you're rooting for Germany, you're hoping for that. So yeah, White Guard, yeah, you kind of have to go for it, but this Draining Kiss now, for Yanagi fans, you want this Draining Kiss to KO Zamazenta, and then we will get the reveal, but yeah, no critical hit. Zamazenta makes it through the turn. A lot of recovery from Draining Kiss. And yeah, Giga Drain, well, some recovery also for Volcarona, but not as effective in terms of recovering. And Draining Kiss should get the KO on Zamazenta this turn, so you get another boost on your special attack side for Calyrex, and you're also recovering health. So if this is not Ditto, then, I mean, if it's Grimmsnarl, you're still fine, I guess. You can Thunder Wave and then win like a long game, like a 1v1, but if you get crit on Volcarona, then it would be quite bad. If it's Iron Hands, then we might be in trouble. So, or maybe this is a slow Calyrex, and maybe Miraidon just outspeed, but no, it is Ditto coming to the rescue. And will copy Calyrex Shadow, will copy the boosts, does not copy the Terrestrialization, but copies Grimnay as well. And yeah, with that, I think Astro Barrage will probably get the KO from this range. So Yanagi wants to, well, he didn't go for Draining Kiss. I was thinking maybe you can Draining Kiss Ditto, but nope, you actually, yeah, I think you actually just lose regardless because of the Focus Sash. There's also still Terra Normal available. Yep, because why not? Let's Terra to Normal. And we saw Yanagi go for Astro Barrage, so this should be the first win for Team Germany. Wins the speed tie, but yep, is not effective on Calyrex. And with that, Volcarona makes it through the turn, actually. Astro Barrage, I think this will just already be enough for the knockout. Yes, it is. And Billa takes it 2-1, bringing the overall score to 1-2 in still in Japan's favor, but Billa getting Germany on the scoreboard, taking home this series with, and I would say Volcarona definitely the MVP here, and the Ditto as well. So yeah, in 2 games Ditto got to copy Calyrex, and those 2 games Billa won. So yeah, nicely done, and taking home this set for Germany brings us to a 1-2 overall score. Still favoring Japan, but yeah, nice play.